This is potentially the most perfect platform for a 6.5 PRC. There's several reasons I say that, and we'll get into all those in the video. This rifle is the Sig Cross Magnum Sawtooth. Now, we showed this video on the back, this same rifle in a 300 PRC on the Backfire channel. Did a full review, deep dive on that gun, but also the 300 PRC as a cartridge. If you're interested in that, go check that out. Great video in my opinion. This rifle is exactly the same. It's the same build, it's got the same barrel, everything, but it's in a 6.5 PRC. And if that 300 PRC was able to perform as well as it did, we ended up shooting out to 1,000 yards, super accurate rifle. If I remember correctly, it was shooting pretty precise groups, consistently sub MOA. For a 300 PRC, that is impressive no matter what rifle it's in. And if it was able to shoot like that out of a Super Magnum cartridge, it should, I mean, hypothetically, we should be able to see some pretty good groups out of a cartridge like a 6.5 PRC that is much more mild and just inherently a more accurate cartridge in my mind. You know, you might disagree with that, but in my opinion, 6.5 PRC is one of the most inherently accurate cartridges, just from my own personal experience. But you never know till you shoot it, so let's go take some shots. Now, this is kind of a behind the scenes setup video for this rifle because eventually we're going to have this rifle on the Backfire video as well. So got to get it set up. And as part of that, we got to do some accuracy testing. We got 3 different loads here: Federal Premium, Hornady Precision Hunter, and Federal Fusion. I don't normally shoot 2 Federal loads, but we just had we just had Federal Premium and Federal Fusion in 6.5 PRC, so I figured might as well. All right, we're gonna start out with the Federal Premium. Now, this is shooting the Terminal Ascent bullet, and me and Jim have always wanted to get a Terminal Ascent bullet to perform because it seems like a really interesting, seems like an interesting bullet, but in all the rifles we've shot, they've just never really performed. So if this one can get it to shoot, that would be great. The best rifle the Terminal Ascent bullets have performed in, at least out of the guns we've shot out of, is our 6.5 PRC Sawco S20. Phenomenal rifle. It's just not an ammo picky gun. All right, that's about a 1 MOA group there. I'll go down and show you, but I realized I ripped 6 shots when I was sighting this gun in, and then I went straight to a 3-shot goop. And this is a carbon fiber barrel, so it's probably pretty hot. Yeah, she's definitely warm. So we're gonna let it cool and then shoot another group. So to the left here was all our sight-in shots. So we took, that was our first one, and then we, ended up here. So then here was our first group. So that's about a 1 MOA group there. My calipers are dead, but that looks about the same size as this 1 MOA circle. This is what I'm using as a reference. But we gave it 0 time to cool after ripping 5 shots, so I'm assuming those groups are gonna tighten up. And honestly, that is a good group. For what I've seen from the Terminal Ascent bullets, that's a pretty good group. But we're gonna shoot 2 3-shot groups for each of these loads so we can get a little better data and just to kind of start figuring out what this gun likes. I'm not trying to go super deep into the accuracy testing because we'll probably want to get into that with the official Backfire video. But I kind of just want to get a feel for what this gun likes and what it doesn't like. And then obviously also tell you guys why I think this rifle is the perfect 6.5 PRC platform. Let's give this Terminal Ascent another chance here. Sunglasses are back. Holy crap, that is the best group I have ever seen out of the Terminal Ascent. Let's go look at that. All right, so this was our first group, and that was with a warm barrel. This is our other group. That looks like 2 shots. The 3rd shot went exactly in the same hole as the first shot. And you can tell because the hole is just slightly bigger than the others. That is the best I have ever seen from a Terminal Ascent bullet. And I want to shoot it a second time just to kind of confirm that that's real because, we did have this group. And while, yes, that may have been a hot barrel, I do want to see if it can shoot a group like that again or if that was just an outlier. Man, I have to say, shooting this thing, shooting suppressed has got to be top 10 human experiences of all time. If you have never shot a suppressed rifle, you are missing out big time. Like, I've got ear pro on this whole time, but you really don't need it when you're shooting with the suppressor. Plus, it cuts down on the recoil and everything. You know, my favorite part about a suppressor is everyone's favorite, that it cuts the sound down, right? I don't really care that it cuts down the recoil that much, because for me at least, when I start to have flinching problems, it's mostly because the gun is loud, and that's what gets me to flinch, the noise. And so if you can cut the sound down, that helps me drastically more than cutting down the actual felt recoil. Almost touching, wow. Ah, it looks like there is a bit of a feeding issue there. It just doesn't, I don't know if that's the mag or what. It just seems like it goes right over the bullet sometimes. All right, so here we got a group 1, group 2, amazing. Group 3 looking more like group 1. So I'm using this 1-inch circle as a reference, and it looks like this would be inside of that 1-inch circle. So all 3 groups, 1 MOA groups, maybe slightly under 1 MOA. This one is probably the closest to sneaking out over 1 MOA, but still looks like it's gonna be within that 1-inch group, with that 1-inch circle. And then we probably just got lucky with this 1 group here. That's kind of why I wanted to shoot a 3rd one, just to confirm. And so it looks like this is gonna be kind of your more average. Obviously, we don't have, you know, a full data set here. We don't have extensive research done, but from the little that we've done so far, looks like with the Federal Premium, that's gonna be kind of what you're getting. And that's honestly better than what I've seen from almost every other gun that shot that Federal Premium load with the terminal ascent bullet. So I'm still impressed. I still think those are great groups compared to what I've seen out of other rifles, even more expensive rifles shooting this exact same load. All right, Hornady Precision Hunter. I wish I had some SIG ammo here to try, because I'd be willing to bet SIG ammo out of a SIG rifle. Normally SIG ammo does the best no matter what. But I've actually never shot SIG ammo out of a SIG rifle, believe it or not. Actually, that's a lie. We might have shot SIG ammo out of the 300 PRC. I don't remember though. But yeah, if we had SIG ammo for this 6.5, I'd bet this thing would be shooting absolute pinhole groups. All right, so here's all our groups. We have our first 3 Federal Premium groups, 1, 2, and then 3. Then we went to Hornady Match. We're here. That's probably a right at 1 MOA group, just like these other terminal ascent ones, maybe slightly better. Then we probably getting out to 1.5 inches here with the 2nd Precision Hunter group. Then we shot a 3rd group, or a 4th group from the terminal ascent, the Federal Premium, just so I could check velocity. We just shot a barely over a 1/2 inch group here. This is a 1/2 inch circle, so we're probably right at 0.6 inches, I'd say, from center to center of those bullet holes. That's impressive. So we're shooting considerably better with the Federal Premium load. Plus, we're shooting almost 100 feet per second faster out of that load. So is the SIG Cross Magnum Sawtooth perfect, like I claimed in the beginning of this video, for the 6.5 PRC? I think yes. I think this is an amazing platform for this cartridge. I think it's an amazing platform for most cartridges. If you're okay with a little extra weight, the SIG Cross Magnum Sawtooth is about 8.1 pounds depending on how it's configured. And so if you're okay, for me, that's a perfect weight. And that's bare rifle. That's without the scope or a bipod or a suppressor. So we've probably got a pound with a suppressor. We've probably got a 1/4 pound with a bipod. And we've probably got 1.5 pounds with this Sig Sauer. This is the Tango DMR 3-18 by 44. Great scope in my opinion. I love it. there's a lot, you're getting a lot of value with this rifle. It's a higher price point. You're getting more into, you know, the fierce priced rifles and those kinds of, and, you know, the higher end Bergaras, those kinds of rifles, you know, the semi-customs. That's kind of the price point of this rifle. But you're getting pretty much everything you could need in a hunting rifle. The one downside to this rifle that I noticed is the feeding is not perfect. Every now and then it seems like the bolt just skips over the round and doesn't feed it. That's the only issue. Other than that, this is almost a perfect rifle. It's got, if you're a carbon fiber lover, you got a nice carbon fiber barrel. This is a proof, SIG uses Proof Research carbon fiber barrels. So you know it's going to be, you know, just a solid overall rifle. The way we have this gun set up, again, SIG Tango DMR 3-18x44, MDT Oryx bipod. This one's connected with M-LOK. There's M-LOK everywhere on this rifle. And then they're also running SIG scope rings, and the suppressor that this is running is an anechoic suppressor. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of them. We met the owner, or co-founder, or like a head engineer, something like that. We met someone who is a big part of the anechoic suppressor company at our 1 MOA challenge last year, like last May or something like that. Which, if you haven't seen those 1 MOA challenge videos, I encourage you to. They are very eye-opening challenges. The features of this rifle: you've got a very vertical grip, very pistol style grip here, which I love. It's a 2-stage trigger, which I love. But we did notice this with the 300 PRC as well. When you first get this rifle out of the box, the first stage is a little bit sticky, I guess is the word. I'll see if I can show you here. There's just like, you can kind of see, it's kind of like it's not a very smooth take up at first. There's kind of a couple stages to the first stage, if that makes sense. And then a nice crisp second stage there. But I have noticed in shooting the 300 PRC, just takes, you know, a couple days out at the range, and that smooth butters right up. You got a folding stock, you just push the button on top here, pull the stock to the side. I think every rifle and every aftermarket stock in a price point like this has to have a folding stock. And then you've also got adjustable length of pull with this little knob here, adjustable cheek piece, and something you don't see a lot, you can actually adjust the recoil pad height. And that is actually very convenient, more than you would think, to be honest. Backstop recoil pads are available for all SIG models, along with, you know, like 300 rifle models. And so if you want to upgrade your recoil, the feel of your recoil, the comfort of your rifle, backstop is a great way for that. But there's the rifle. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. This rifle will be showing up in a backfire video eventually. Probably not in our next few ones, but I would imagine before the end of the year, we'll have this on the Backfire channel in one way or another. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. We will see you in the next one.